following is a special presentation of Granite Sports and KISS 102.7. Welcome to the Team SMI starting lineup. Presented by Team SMI.
Sibilance.
This evening, Matt Skinner.
All right, Casey Bass.
All you need to know to get you ready for Friday Night Lights.
Yes.
This program is also streaming live on the Granite Sports Facebook page. The Team SMI starting lineup is presented by Team SMI. Also brought to you
know,
by
just drank 2 cups of coffee,
Fire
right?
Agent Amy Brown,
Outstanding.
Edward Jones of
we're live on
Carrollton,
Facebook.
Douglasville,
Hello,
and
everyone.
Billerica. Osher Apparel, Southland Insurance, West Georgia Plumbing, Septic, and HVAC, and West Georgia Technology. Now, let's go live on the air and on the Granite Sports Facebook page to the Mustard Seed Cafe at City Station with your host, Matt Skinner.
3, 2.
And a pleasant good evening, everyone. Welcome in. David Brock back at the studio. Joel Brock behind the camera. Clay Hart and Matt Skinner here with you. As always, good to be here. And we've got a great show lined up for you tonight. Coach Scott Peavy for the Haralson County Rebels, probably the busiest man in all of our listening area. He has been everywhere. He's talked to everyone. Well, he's going to sit down with us tonight and talk about his Haralson County Rebels with us. They got a big ball game on Friday, probably the biggest in their school's history to debate with anybody that you would want to. But as always, we're going to recap games like we do each and every week, and then we'll talk about the games coming up later on. You're not going to want to miss out on our coverage Friday night. We've got 4 terrific broadcast games. I said it earlier, Clay, and you can probably say the same thing. As long as I've worked here with Graddick over the last couple of years, I think this might be the biggest week, meaningful week of high school football we've had in some time around these parts.
Yeah, if there's a bigger one, a more important week for so many teams, I can't think of what it is. There's Bowden's got a huge road game
for possible sub-region championship matchup the next week.
Haralson County's probably playing for at least a share of a region championship. Temple and Bremen is playing, and that'll establish a pecking order in that region. I guess in that region, Carrollton tomorrow night with Kell.
Yeah. And then,
which is for the region championship.
And even though Central lost last week, they've got a big game against Chapel Hill. A lot can still fall into their laps because Cedartown still has some tough games left on their schedule. So it's a must-win game for Central, though, obviously. Next
I guess technically Cedartown has a one-game lead on them, and if they finish tied, they got the head-to-head. So Cedartown's going to have to lose twice. Central's going to have to – they're going to win 2 more games, and Cedartown lose. Cedartown will lose out, which is possible because that's a tough region.
Yes, absolutely. But we'll start off with that Cedartown Central game. Clay and I were on the call. It was 28-21 Cedartown, and Central got down 3 touchdowns, and we didn't write them off, but they didn't look like they were going anywhere. Then here they came again, and unfortunately just didn't have enough left in the gas tank there at the end.
It's like from the second quarter to the end of the third quarter, they couldn't get out of their own way.
Yeah.
They were self-inflicted penalties, turnovers, pre-snap penalties. How many do we say it was?
There were 7 at least, 6 or 7.
Pre-snap, like your first and
the first
4 of
four,
them were on first down.
The first 4 drives of the game, they started 1st and 15.
1st and 15, and that's tough to overcome. But the fourth quarter, just everything went their way, and it could have been, could have went either way there at the end. It turned out to be a pretty good ball game.
Yeah, and just a tough loss for the Lions. They'll get back at it this week against Chapel Hill. We'll talk about that game a little bit later on.
I still say if Cedartown's coaching staff could ever figure out Kobe Pryor's the best player in the state and line him up in the Wildcat with that, what was that, 27, what was his name?
C.J. Washington, who had 5 sacks in the game as well.
With C.J., put him at tailback and run Pryor at quarterback in the Wildcat, and you couldn't stop it. I don't think there's anybody around there that could stop that offense.
And the scary thing about Cedartown is, folks, I don't know what next year's regions look like, but every single kid we caught off on that team besides Kobe Pryor was an underclassman.
Sophomores and juniors, a lot of them. And 27, Washington, who I thought had the best game of the night, is just a sophomore.
Yeah.
But I know I'm right about if the coaching staff ever figures that out with Pryor, because as I was saying that, their radio crew was there going like nodding with me in agreement.
Why can't we give this man the football? Bowden and Mount Zion, a nice rivalry game last week. That was Bowden taking the victory 24-0. And Gage Stevens just continues to put up big numbers. He's number 1 in Class Single A with 964 yards on the ground. And but last week they were able to get some other guys involved, which once you start playing better teams, you know they're going to start keying on some people. Dusty Hobson had a big touchdown catch. You know, Ben Fortson's getting some more catches. And you've seen this Bowden team enough. Gage Stevens and that offense is the real deal.
Ben Fortson, to me, is going to be the key tomorrow night. He's going to have to step up and be a contributor on offense on both. You know, he's already a contributor on defense.
Right.
I've heard rumblings that he gets a little lazy streak in him a couple plays, likes to take a play off, but they're going to have to get him involved on the offensive side because Stevens is going to be – they're going to be keying on him. Everybody is.
Yeah. Moving right along for Carrollton, really last week wasn't much to worry about. The Woodland Wildcats came in. Trojans took care of business. Miles Morris, I think, was 9 of 10 passing, some crazy number like that. Terrell Carmichael, big week. But big week with Kell. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Villarica and Kell, talking to Coach Norwood on Tuesday night, and something we'll talk about a little bit later on. He said if you took Kell's 4 defensive linemen and put them with Carrollton's linebackers, it'd be the best defense in the state because the front 4 from Kell is absolutely tremendous. Villarica had a hard time blocking them the whole night. Moving right along, Heard County. I was thinking this game was going to be a little bit closer, but I was not shocked by it due to the fact that Heard County had 2 weeks to. You give Tim Barron 2 weeks to prepare for anybody. I like your chances, and not taking anything away from Temple, but they were also making some position changes. Scooter Tanner didn't play quarterback; he moved to a receiver. So Heard County took care of business, and that sets up a big game with Callaway here in a couple weeks.
Not taking anything away from Tim Barron, but you give those Curbo brothers 2 weeks to prepare for anybody, and they're going to be ready. That defense shut down a pretty high-powered Temple. You know, I've seen them in person for a quarter and a half. It was against Northwest Whitfield.
Yeah.
Gave them all they wanted.
Yeah.
They just got gas because they're going both ways. So
right.
I think one of those touchdowns came at the end, right?
Yeah, one was at the 41-6 was the score until the very end.
Yeah,
so,
that was against the JV.
Yeah. So Temple will bounce back hopefully this week. They've got a big game against Bremen. We'll touch on that. That'll be on B92 Country. Jordan and Bremen, no problems whatsoever in that ball game. As Coach Jetmore's wife said that Jordan was the worst football team she had ever seen.
Well, I don't know. Maybe she probably had never seen was it Cross Keys?
Well, that's the thing. We argued about it on Tuesday night. As Coach Russell was leaving, we asked him who was worse, Jordan or Cross Keys, and it took him a second to answer the question.
But it's got to be Cross Keys.
He said it was Cross Keys just because they don't have the athletes that Jordan does. But he said it was actually closer than what you would expect.
That's hard to believe.
Hey, Cross Keys won a ball game this year.
Against who?
Petula Academy or something like that. We were joking about it on the Red Zone a couple weeks ago. Not only did they win, they scored 61 points, Clay.
That may not
the most they've scored in any combined game in their history.
That may be fake news.
It was not fake news.
Petulia out of Columbus.
Yeah.
Okay.
David knows what he's talking about. Petulia Academy out of Columbus.
Is that like a middle school academy?
Probably.
5th through the 7th grade.
Haralson County went up on the road last week finally and took care of Sonoraville, and that was an interesting ball game. I think Haralson County had the ball 5 times. They had the ball twice in the first half, and they had it, I think, one more time towards the end of the first half, and didn't do anything before halftime. But every time they had the ball, besides that one drive, they scored and got the 2-point conversion. Held the ball for like 9 minutes almost in the second half to win that ball game and score. So
I know somebody sitting over there we can ask about that.
Yeah, he can definitely answer that question for us. But one of the biggest games in their school history is coming up this week, and we're going to talk about that. Haralson County won 32-20 last week. Looking around the area, Callaway took care of Lamar County. That's going to be an interesting team to watch. If we can get Temple into the playoffs, it comes down to that Lamar County team. They've got to still play Temple, Bremen, and Heard County.
You know, I think after seeing their performance against Callaway, I think they played a really easy non-region schedule to set themselves up at 5-0 or whatever they were coming in. I don't think they're a real contender for this region.
Cartersville took care of LaGrange, no problem. That's a big ball game. We'll see what Sandy Creek is made of this week.
Well,
That's
I think we're going to see what Cartersville is made of.
Yeah.
We already than Sandy Creek.
Yeah. And that is up at Wineman Stadium up in Cartersville. So that will be a fun game up there. But enough of recapping last week. When we come back, we'll sit down with the head coach of the Haralson County Rebels, Coach Scott Peavy, right here on the Team SMI starting lineup.
City Station, a multi-purpose community center behind CVS on Maple Street in Carrollton, was conceived by Southern Hills Christian Church with a goal of serving Carroll County. City Station offers preschool services, college student housing, the Mustard Seed Cafe, an indoor playground, fitness center, and basketball court, as well as state-of-the-art conference rooms available for your next event. You matter, and City Station exists to serve you. Come check out City Station in person or find us online at citystation.org and Facebook.
Listen, then speak. That's how your Edward Jones financial advisor gets to know you, your personal situation, and your individual goals. Smart answers come from listening to your questions. Let your Edward Jones financial advisor show you the difference. For an Edward Jones financial advisor near you, call 1-800-ED-JONES, visit edwardjones.com, or stop by any Edward Jones office in Carrollton, Villa Rica, or Douglasville. Listen, then speak. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Edward Jones, Carrollton, Villa Rica, and Douglasville. Member SIPC.
It's not just your car. It's the car you worked overtime so your team could drive himself to football practice. This is State Farm agent Amy Brown. My team and I understand that your car and home are things you worked really hard for, and we're here to give them the protection they deserve. Call me, State Farm agent Amy Brown, at 678-840-5000. Stop by our office on South Candler Street in Villa Rica, or visit online at amybrown.biz. We're here to help life go right.
Osier Apparel makes it easy for you to outfit your employees in company attire. The Osier staff will work with you to set up a company store online with your logos, approved garment brands, colors, and styles. Once the store is up and running, employees visit the store and order direct within your allotted budget, or can order additional garments on their own within your preset acceptable parameters. You've got enough to do. Alleviate the hassle of outfitting your employees. To find out more or to set up your company store, visit osierapparel.com or stop by their office on Avenue C in Carrollton.
At West Georgia Plumbing, Septic, and HVAC, a family-owned and operated company, we understand the importance of keeping your family comfortable and home functioning properly.
We are available 24/6 for any and all repairs and installations. We honor all military, first responders, teachers, and senior citizens with a 10% discount.
Give us a call at 678-708-8883.
And check us out online at westgeorgiahvac.com and westgeorgiaplumbingandseptic.com.
To God be the glory.
In America, someone's cell phone screen cracks every second.
I'd hate to be that guy.
Face it, someday you'll be that guy. When that day comes, don't send your phone off to be repaired. It takes weeks and costs a fortune. From busted screens to battery replacement, West Georgia Technology repairs phones and computers fast for a price that will make you smile.
Ah, shoot. So who do I call again?
West Georgia Technology, 678-664-0486, 928 South Park Street in Carrollton.
Whether it's a car accident,
30
storm
seconds.
damage, or a fire, when the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you saved money in 15 minutes. In this moment, it doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is that your independent insurance agent and the company that stands behind them have you covered. Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people. Visit Susan, Gary, and the rest of the crew at Southland Insurance on Corporate Drive in Carrollton or online at southlandinsagency.com.
Back in 3, 2.
And welcome back into the Team SMI starting lineup show. Matt Skinner alongside with Clay Harden. We're joined now by the head coach of the Haralson County Rebels, Coach Scott Peavy. Coach, how's it going?
Oh, it's great. Thank you for having me.
Well, I don't think I've joked with you before, but like I'm saying again, you've probably been the busiest man in our area this past week. A lot of great honors, and I'm sure you appreciate all that. But you got a football game on Friday. You're ready to go out and win.
Yeah, like I keep telling our kids, don't let that distract you. We have not had a lot of that in our program, and so it's all new to them, and it's it's new to our community. But the bottom line is we have a really, really good football team coming into our stadium tomorrow night that we better be focused to play.
I want to know how hard it is to – you've played 6 games. 5 of them have been on the road. How tough is it each and every week to try to get your kids to go up? Because they're not just down the street games. You're going an hour plus each and every time into some places that you quite often don't know what you're going to get out of the guys in the black and white stripes, the fan bases. So talk about that a little bit for us.
Well, we've handled that very well, and thankfully, our team seems to play better on the road. And they have since I've been there. So it has not been that bad. It's not. Our kids enjoy playing on the road, and but we've handled a lot of adversity. We went to LFO a few weeks ago, and we had a 3-hour rain delay, and at 12 o'clock we're still in the middle of the game, and then the lights go out, and our fans are still yelling in the dark that we're not going home, and they were fired up, ringing cowbells in the dark. So it's been great. Our fan support's been amazing, and our kids have rallied behind that, and we really hadn't let playing at somebody else's stadium affect us, because really everywhere we've been, we've got more fans than they do. So it's been awesome.
That's got to set you up, playing all those road games early, to be at home for this final stretch run, going for a region championship.
We do, and we play one more game on the road, but then but we play 3 out of 4 we play at home. So it's exciting. It's exciting that tomorrow will probably be the biggest game that's ever been played at our stadium, and that's 50 plus years of football. So it couldn't happen to a better group of kids. Our kids are tremendous. They work tremendously hard. They do everything right, and so I'm excited for them, and I'm excited for their families, and like I said, I'm excited for our crowd and our fans, because they've loved it.
Now talk about this team a little bit from a player aspect. Everybody just keeps seeing, Haralson County, they're 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0. It's incredible, but it's the way that you're doing it. You don't throw the ball hardly at all. I don't think the kids know what a pass is, and then on defense you just come up and hit people in the mouth. So talk about some of the kids that are making that happen. I know you got a terrific quarterback in Clay Hyatt, but talk about some of those other kids that block for him and on the defensive side as well.
Our line has had some recognition, which normally the line doesn't,
right.
In the last few weeks. So it's been great for them and their parents, because usually those kids, nobody knows that they're there. So we've got a really good, physical, tough offensive line, and they've done a tremendous job for us. And I heard you say before I came on that last week we had an 8-minute and 47-second drive to win the game.
Well, there you go.
And so when you can do that, there's some great things happening up front. And we ended the game last week with 24 pancakes, which is a tremendous amount of pancakes, us running people over. So, we play such a unique style that it's not just 5 offensive linemen like most teams. We play with 7 offensive linemen. We play with a power back and a wing back that are really offensive linemen with skill numbers on. And we pull every play. Our backside tight end and tackle pull every play, and those guys are tremendous football players, and Daniel Hartley and Zach Owens, and they're just hammers now. They are physical and they're aggressive, and when they wrap, it's a violent collision, because they're wrapping for linebackers. They're not kicking out at the line. They're going to the second level, and so those guys are just real physical, tough kids. Our backside guard is Ben Colton Sanders, but he's hurt now, and Jaden Walker is a senior who's done a good job filling in for us last week. Our center is Eli Salmon, and he's a sophomore, and he's a real bright spot for our team. And then at right guard, we play David Blankenship, and he's a senior. Also, has done a great job. He's a 3-year starter for us. And Bo Chafin is our offensive tackle. He's our guy. We run almost every play behind him, and Bo's a 6'5", 280-pound, wrecking machine. He's a really good football player, and he's a senior, and he's a several-year starter for us also. And the other tight end is Lance Singletary, and he's a senior, and this is his first year starting at this position, and he's done a really good job. And then we have 2 brothers, Stephen and Caleb Hardiman. Stephen is a sophomore wingback for us, and his brother's Caleb Hardiman. He's a 230-pound power back for us, and he was in the state finals in wrestling, and real tough physical kid, and just done a great job. And we play some guys in the backfield. Of course, Clay's had a really good year for us as a sophomore quarterback. Clay was hurt last year and didn't play the whole year, so he's been a very, very pleasant surprise. And he's done a great job of being a leader too, even as a sophomore, and he's done great. And then we got a senior running back, and Gabe Davis, and we also play Mark Harris as a junior back there, and those guys have done great. And we lost to Traylon Shepard from last year, a kid that he almost averaged 300 yards a game. And so we still rush for that, but we just do it with 3 different guys, and between Gabe and Mark, and Steven runs the ball some, and Clay's rush for, I think he's averaging 183 yards a game. So we just kind of divided up a little bit, and it's been really, really good. And kids are just, they buy into what we're doing, and we have shirts that those guys wear at practice that just say 3.5 on the front, and that's all we're trying to do is get 3.5 yards every play. That's it.
I like it.
We're not a secret. We're not trying to do anything fancy. And thankfully it's been successful, and hopefully we can continue that. And we're going to be tested tomorrow, but it'll be tested. But defensively, we've got some really good, tough, physical kids over there, and I think our Achilles heel in the past is that teams that are really fast have kind of outrun us, and we got some guys that can run around over there a little bit. So we've been excited about them. We have two really good defensive ends. We have a senior named Trey Lovelace, and Trey, he was a first-team All-Region player last year, and he's got some college offers, and he's a really, really good football player. And we got a really pleasant surprise on the backside, and Riley Bell is a sophomore defensive end for us, and he's had a tremendous year. Everybody's keyed up on Trey, and he can make some plays on the backside. So I messed up our nose guard's name in our interview the other day, but David Hitchcock is our nose guard, and the only person that knows that he's on the field is his mama. He's the double team guy, and he's the unsung hero because he's keeping people off our linebackers, and it's a very thankless job, and he does a great job at it. And at linebackers, we got a senior in Kagan Williams, who's a couple-year starter for us. Our middle backer was hurt, and Richard Hyde, Clay's older brother, who's a great football player, and he blew his knee out in a scrimmage early in the year. Okay. So Antonio Krapp has moved over. He's been there, but he's moved over to the inside linebacker, and he's probably our leading tackler at the linebacker position. He's done a great job for us. And then we moved in a kid named Trey Moat, who's a senior, is playing the other stack linebacker. Our 2 outside linebackers, Dale Hansard's a senior on one side, and the other we have a sophomore named JoJo Chandler is the other one. And then one of our coach's son is Andrew Klein, plays corner, and he's been a great player for us. And the other one is Wesley Cole, who's a sophomore, really good player. And then kind of the leader of our defense, the guy that when you see a big hit happen, it's our guy in the back end. His name's Mark Harris, and Mark's a really good football player, and he's a junior. And so those are our guys, and they just I don't think when you line them up, if you lined up most of the teams we play and line up our guys, I don't know how many of our guys you pick, but as a team they've played really, really well together, and so they've been a joy to coach. Now they just do what we ask them to do every day, and they're tough and they're physical, and it's kind of the way that I like that kind of football. So I'm glad that these guys are buying into it.
I know you mentioned a couple of those guys participate in other sports like wrestling. Are you a big fan of multi-sport athletes?
Absolutely. I've been a wrestling coach most of my career, other than the last couple of years I hadn't coached wrestling. So I've been a wrestler. As a matter of fact, in any job that I've had as the head coach that didn't have wrestling, I started wrestling. So absolutely a big fan. I've coached baseball for probably the last 15 years of my career. So, I just feel like the more times you have to get a takedown in the last 2 seconds to win it, or, the more times at bat with the 3-2 count, you got to have a base hit to win the game, the better off you're going to be in a football game when the ball's in the goal line. And so, yeah, absolutely. That in all reality, 4% of high school athletes are going to go be college athletes. So why limit them while they're having time? Let them have fun. They're going to be, real world's going to hit them in the face soon enough. You might as well let them have as much fun as they can. I think sometimes sports, we take the fun out of it, really, is a lot of times, because it is so
demanding,
so much work. Yeah, it's completely different than it's ever been, and it's work. And so I think that's the key to me and our staff, is trying to keep things fun, because it is hard work. I'm
not sure that I would enjoy the year-round football. Like, there's always something to do with football now year-round.
It is, and I feel like as the head coach, if we're not doing it, we're going to get left behind. But then you want the kids to be successful in basketball, and you want and so really with us, we just make sure they lift all year, and then, hey, I want them to be a part of everything. I want them to run track, and I want them to wrestle, and I want them to play basketball, and, because, the other thing is if you ask kids to choose, sometimes they're going to choose against you. You're going to lose some kids, and that's not how you're trying to do it either, Like just a perfect example, our fullback, our power back is Caleb Hardiman, and he's a wrestler. And, he was in the state finals last year. He's a fantastic wrestler, has some chances to be a collegiate wrestler. If I ask that kid to choose, we probably lose him. He probably goes to wrestling, and we lose a hammer, a 230-pound hammer in our offense. And, so thankfully, we didn't ask him to choose, and he gets to do both of them. And thankfully, he's really good at what he does for us. So, we just don't want a kid to choose wrong, choose the other one,
right.
So we don't ask anybody to choose.
Well, we're talking with head coach of the Haralson County Rebels, Scott Peavy, right here on the Team SMI Starting Lineup Show. And one more thing before we let you go, we've talked about the season so far in your ball club. This North Murray team is a team that you went up and beat last year at their place. From what I've seen, just on some Max Preps film stuff, they got a good quarterback in Lad McConkey that we know a little bit about. His older brother played at West Georgia, and he's very talented, as you mentioned. But they also got to have a little bit of a defense. I think if Max Preps is right, they held Calhoun to 7 points. So their football team in general is pretty solid this year. So what's it going to take for the Rebels to get a win over the Mountaineers on Friday?
They are a great football team. They were last year too, and and they lost, a defensive end that went to Missouri and a quarterback that went to Eastern Kentucky. So, and they're playing even better this year. So, they have 32 seniors, and they have probably 7 college football players on their team.
Wow.
One of them's going to Navy. They have 2 inside linebackers that are really, really good football players, and big and physical, and so they've done a great job on that side. And a bunch of those guys play both ways. And the McConkey kid plays everywhere. He plays offense, defense, special teams. He plays it all. 2 years in a row he's running kickback on us. So they got a kid healthy, running back, and where's number 23. They got him healthy. He's been hurt. He didn't play last year against us, and he can fly. He's a 4.4 kid, and the McConkey kid's a 4.4 kid, and anytime a kid scores 7 touchdowns, I don't care if he's playing in a rec league. 7 touchdowns is phenomenal. That's a career. That's a season for some kids. And he scored 7 touchdowns last week, he's really special. And the 2 of them in the backfield together, they both can fly. So very dangerous, and they have some kids that can go get it. Their linebacker, who's 6'5", he also plays tight end, and he's a big target for them. And they play an outside linebacker slot receiver kid, wears number 7, and he's special too. So they just got a lot of kids that can go get it, and they got a lot of athletes. They got 2 running backs. Another kid that played against us last year is a really good player too. So hard to defend them because there are so many athletes on the field at one time. They got a 6'4" outside receiver that can go get it too. So they're a special football team. Their head coach has done a great job with them, and we got to do the same thing that we've been doing. We just got to control the football. Hopefully we don't turn it over, and hopefully we create. Last year, we fumbled the opening kickoff, and then the very next play, Lovelace sacks our quarterback with a strip sack, and we get the ball back. And some breaks like that have to happen for us. Right. So otherwise, they have the potential to run out of the stadium on every play. So if we just control the ball like we have been and limit their possessions, that's the only way we'll have a chance.
Clay, anything else for Coach Peavy?
Good luck tomorrow night.
Yeah,
I appreciate
We're pulling for you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're excited. We're excited to be there. Game will be live on WKNG King Country, starting at 7 o'clock, or starting at 7:30. But we'll be pregame and everything. So excited to be up there, and there better be a huge crowd, and I don't doubt that there will be.
They'll be there, and they'll be ringing those cowbells.
Yes, absolutely. Coach Scott Peavy of the Haralson County Rebels. When we come back, we'll speak with Greg Holcomb right here on the Team SMI starting lineup.
Looking for a fitness experience that isn't your typical big box gym? At City Station Fitness, we understand going to the gym can be intimidating, and we want to change that. City Station Fitness, a proud supporter of the Team SMI starting lineup, makes your fitness experience fun and personal, and we promise to know your name by your second visit. Give us a try, and your first workout will be on us. City Station Fitness, behind CVS on Maple Street. For more information, visit citystationfitness.com and check us out on Facebook.
Join the 7 million investors who know the difference. For a proactive approach to your individual financial needs, contact an Edward Jones financial advisor near you. Call 1-800-ED-JONES, visit edwardjones.com, or stop by any Edward Jones office in Carrollton, Villa Rica, or Douglasville. Regardless of what the market is doing, we stay in touch. Even when the market's down, we'll call you up. Proactive, not reactive. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Edward Jones in Carrollton, Villa Rica, and Douglasville. Member SIPC.
It's not just your home or your car. It's the hours you spend in your kitchen mastering your legendary wing recipe and packing the family in the car as you head to the high school tailgate. While other companies just call it bundling, at State Farm, we see your home and your auto as the time and memories you make with them. This is State Farm Agent Amy Brown. I understand what your family, home, and auto really means to you. Come see me, State Farm Agent Amy Brown, on South Candler Street in Villa Rica to make sure you're getting the insurance protection that you deserve.
Did you know that Osier Apparel offers all-inclusive fundraising web stores? Donors order direct from the store, freeing you from handling money, getting product to donors, keeping track of ordering, accounting, or delivery. Osier will work with you to set up your store. They'll even help with your design. From tote bags to t-shirts, headwear to outerwear, an Osier fundraising website puts the fun back into fundraising. To find out more or to set up your store, visit osierapparel.com or stop by their office on Avenue C in Carrollton.
At West Georgia Plumbing, Septic, and HVAC, a family-owned and operated company, we understand the importance of keeping your family comfortable and home functioning properly.
We are available 24/6 for any and all repairs and installations. We honor all military, first responders, teachers, and senior citizens with a 10% discount.
Give us a call at 678-708-8883.
And check us out online at westgeorgiahvac.com and westgeorgiaplumbingandseptic.com. To God be the glory.
In America, someone's cell phone screen cracks every second.
I'd hate to be that guy.
Face it, someday you'll be that guy. When that day comes, don't send your phone off to be repaired. It takes weeks and costs a fortune. From busted screens to battery replacement, West Georgia Technology repairs phones and computers fast for a price that will make you smile.
Ah, shoot. So who do I call again?
West Georgia Technology, 678-664-0486, 928 South Park Street in Carrollton.
Whether it's a car accident, storm damage, or a fire, when the unthinkable happens, it doesn't
25
matter
seconds.
if you saved money in 15 minutes. In this moment, it doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is that your independent insurance agent and the company that stands behind them have you covered. Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people. Visit Susan, Gary, and the rest of the crew at Southland Insurance on Corporate Drive in Carrollton or online at southlandinsagency.com.
3, 2.
And welcome back into the Team SMI starting lineup show presented by SMI. We appreciated having on Coach Scott Peavy, and we are looking forward to watching the Running Rebels tomorrow up against the North Murray Mountaineers. We're joined now by Greg Holcomb, a good friend of ours, works with the Sheriff's Department. How's it going?
Going good.
It's always good to see you. And we've got these little flyers, and a good friend of pretty much if you live in Carroll County area, you know who Lee Maxwell is, and you know of him. And he's been going through a tough time, but he is continuing to get better and better. Tell us a little bit about the backstory of Lee and what this the fundraiser, the benefit's all about.
Lee's had some sickness for quite some time, but he's battled through it. He's a tough cookie, you know, and he's battled through it. And this last episode, he got real sick and wound up in a local hospital here in Carroll County, and things just kind of went downhill for him. And he wound up at the Kindred Hospital up in Rome. It's a part of Floyd Medical Center. And I think they didn't know Lee like we know Lee, because I don't think they thought he was going to do as well as he has. But Lee's made a lot of progress in the past month or so. I've been up and seen him a couple of times, and he's made a lot of progress. And I've been out of town this week, but I did see a video on Facebook of him sitting up in the bed, drinking a smoothie. He's lost quite a bit of weight due to his sickness, but he's making strides. And if anybody can defeat sickness, Lee Maxwell can. And I just want to say, hello to him. I know he's watching now, watching on
awesome.
Facebook, and I appreciate Lee. We love Lee. I think everybody in this county loves Lee, and I just appreciate y'all allowing us the time to come on and talk about it.
Clay, I'll say this, and I don't care who it is, but it just seems like every time this county needs something, the county steps up, and we're asking another big favor right now for that to happen.
Yeah, it's I've never seen. Of course, I've lived here all my life, but I have been around other communities, but I've never seen anybody step up like the people in this area do. And it's not just Carroll County; it's Haralson County, Heard County. They step up for stuff like this, and everybody's going to rally and try to raise some money to help Lee pay for these medical bills. I guess that's what it's going towards, right?
Yeah, we've got an account set up, and we have an account manager just managing that, and everything from this go directly into account, and that account is for nothing but the bills entitled Lee's medical bills, any doctor bills he has, any bills that he has, and you're right about the community. We just announced it about a week or so ago that we were going to do this, and our phones are blown up at the sheriff's office from this community, and even outside of this community, people are calling and what can I do to help? There's several businesses donated raffle prizes, silent auction stuff, and people just call wanting to donate money toward it because everybody knows Lee, and it's kind of funny, but I did want to mention it. Lee worked K-9 and worked street-level narcotics. He's worked school resource officer. He's done it all. And we've actually had people that he has arrested in the past call and want to make contributions and want to know how they can help. That's the kind of respect Lee Maxwell gets within the boundaries of Carroll County. He's just probably one of the most respected deputies that works at the sheriff's office.
That's this dude when he came across encountered anybody, whether it was he was having to arrest them or whether he was helping them with something, he always treated everybody with respect.
Yeah, he always had the same demeanor, and anybody that's ever been a part of our sheriff's office youth camp, a lot of people know the story of that. We just done our 16th year, and Lee is the brainchild behind that. It was Lee's idea. Lee's one went to Sheriff Langley and sold the idea. Of course, Sheriff brought into it immediately, and 16 years later, we're averaging 160 to 170 kids at this camp. That Lee is the backbone of that whole camp.
Well, it's Saturday, November the 9th, so that's coming up here in a couple of weeks. But if I read correctly, registration begins tomorrow. Is that correct?
Well, what's going to happen tomorrow is our concert tickets are going to go on sale tomorrow. Okay. What we're doing is we're doing a benefit motorcycle and Jeep ride. And we've been down to Troup County and helped them with one. They're helping us with this one. I've been up to Paulding County and helped them with one. They're helping us. But we're going to do a motorcycle and Jeep ride, and it'll start at 3:30 with registration at West Georgia Technical College in front of the sheriff's office. And we started putting the plans together, and it's only fitting that if we're going to do something for Maxwell, we've got to do the sheriff's office, and we're going to end at Mount Zion High School because that's two locations that know Lee better than anybody. Lee's heart and soul has been poured into those two locations, so it's only fitting that's what we do. But the kickstands will go up, and the Jeeps and everything will pull out at 5 o'clock, and it's about an hour-long ride. We'll wind up at Mount Zion. Anybody that don't want to do the Jeep motorcycle ride, we're going to have a big car show at 2 o'clock starting at Mount Zion, and we'll have some entertainment going on during the car show. And then once we get to Mount Zion High School in the ballpark at 6 o'clock, we're going to have a concert, and we've got 5 different groups scheduled right now that's going to be there, with Homegrown being the feature act for us because they stepped up, and I talked to them at annual meeting at Carroll EMC a couple of weeks ago, and it took them almost 5 minutes to decide they wanted to do it and help us out. So they jumped on board quick, and then we got some other bands that'll be there. We'll have a silent auction. We're going to have some raffles, concessions, just a lot of fun for the family. It's going to be a family-oriented event. That's Lee Maxwell. He's family-oriented. He's very much about the family, so that's why we want to do this for him.
Tell everybody what kind of how the auction is going to work.
Well, right now we're still getting in items. We've been promised stuff. We've been given stuff, so we're waiting on stuff to still come in. It's been mailed to us. But I got back in town today and had a football that Kirby Smart autographed. Of course, it probably would have bought more money last week than it will this week. And that's okay. It's for Maxwell, so we hoping We've been promised something from Matt Ryan, and I'm sure that'll be here probably this week or next week. My contact with that's a huge support of ours. We've reached out to Alan Jackson and Chris Stapleton. They're both sending stuff. We don't know what, but they said they would send us some stuff.
That's awesome.
Some of the local businesses, of course, Marine South has donated a cooler that we're going to be giving away. Got some cornhole boards coming from Plywood Case. They're making some beautiful American flag cornhole boards that'll be auctioned off. Carroll EMC's give us a TV that we're going to either auction or raffle. And we had a local business call us yesterday, and we hadn't released any details because we want to wait till we get all the details. But it'll be a vacation package, a 4-day, 3-night getaway. There's several different locations you can choose from, so that'll be in there. So,
all right.
And we're still getting stuff in. We're still adding stuff, so it's going to be a big time.
Hey, if you want to, can I give this number out here to contact you?
Absolutely.
830-5916. If you got a business or if you just want to donate to help Lee Maxwell out, give Greg a call here. And they'll take anything, any kind of donation, any kind of item or monetary donation to help Lee out. But Lee, we love you, and we hope you get over this pretty quick.
Yeah, Lee, we're looking forward to getting you back to normal. As we appreciate you watching, and Greg, thanks for coming on. But we can't let you go without talking about your Heard County Braves real quick. So talk about them a little bit. They got a simple game this week, but that Pulpwood Classic's right around the corner, isn't it?
Yeah, it's right around the corner, and a lot of people, including myself, got kind of down when we started off the way we did. But I should have known better, knowing that Tim Barron and the Kerbos were there. We do that tough schedule in every sport. We do it on purpose to get better, and they've grown up a lot over the last couple of weeks. I think we're going to be fine this week, and we'll be ready for Callaway. They're a tough team, I know they are, but there's just something about our boys that when they get Callaway on the field, we step up. I wanted to get a final score in our middle school. They're playing in the semifinals today, and they were leading earlier. And I sent a text out hoping to get a score on that, but they were leading pretty good earlier. I think they're playing Temple today in the semifinals, so they're doing real well.
One person that will know, it's Russ Massa, and I can look at that real quick.
If there's ever a team that Heard County really kicks it into overdrive against, it's always Callaway.
It's always Callaway. Yeah, they step up with that Pulpwood Classic every year.
I told everybody last year when they lost those first two games early, I said, everybody settle down. They don't never get the smooth operating temperature till about week 8 or 9.
Yeah.
And yet here we are again. Week 9?
Yeah, week 9.
Week 9, and it looks like they're back to form now.
Yeah, we hope so, and they're working hard. This is our homecoming week, and you know how coaches feel about that, but they'll have them ready. Coach Barron was actually the Grand Marshal in the homecoming parade today, so that was a good honor for him. He deserves it.
Absolutely.
But we're looking forward to getting on the field. We're getting better every week, and I think we're going to be fine.
I saw a picture where Brent Tisdale was dressed up as a fairy.
Tinkerbell or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Well, he actually changed the name of it to Tinker Beard. Since he's got the big beard, he was Tinker Beard. But that's one thing I love about Heard County is our coaches, our teachers, all our staff. They've gotten involved and dressed up this week, and we don't discourage that. We encourage it. We think it's great that they do that, and we got a great bunch in Heard County, and I'm proud of every single one of them.
Oh, if you don't know, Greg's on the school board down there at Heard County.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he cringes when he sees all these pictures. Cause Corey Shelnut was dressed up as Freddy from Scooby-Doo today.
Yeah, and I think it was Coach Napier that was Scooby.
It was.
So. Of course.
It was.
I just hope they don't wear that tomorrow night on the field.
No,
they could get away with it tomorrow night. They're playing Jersey.
Yeah.
But Greg, thank you so much for coming on with us, and we'll continue to lift Lee up in prayers, but also continue to try to talk about it and hopefully get some people to call you.
And I appreciate it. It means a lot that y'all are stepping up to help us with this, and I appreciate everything y'all do for us.
Love you, Lee.
Yes. Thank you so much. And when we come back, we'll talk high school football this week. You don't want to miss out. You better find a radio or a game to go to because there's going to be some good ones, and we'll talk about it right after this.
City Station, a multi-purpose community center behind CVS on Maple Street in Carrollton, was conceived by Southern Hills Christian Church with a goal of serving Carroll County. City Station offers preschool services, college student housing, the Mustard Seed Cafe, an indoor playground, fitness center, and basketball court, as well as state-of-the-art conference rooms available for your next event. You matter, and City Station exists to serve you. Come check out City Station in person or find us online at citystation.org and Facebook.
Listen, then speak. That's how your Edward Jones financial advisor gets to know you, your personal situation, and your individual goals. Smart answers come from listening to your questions. Let your Edward Jones financial advisor show you the difference. For an Edward Jones financial advisor near you, call 1-800-ED-JONES, visit edwardjones.com, or stop by any Edward Jones office in Carrollton, Villa Rica, or Douglasville. Listen, then speak. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Edward Jones, Carrollton, Villa Rica, and Douglasville. Member SIPC.
Every football fan knows that the two-point conversion can make all the difference in a game. That's why State Farm is here to help you go for two by combining your home and auto insurance. This is State Farm agent Amy Brown reminding you that bundling your insurance can save you time and money. It's just another way to put one in your win column. Call me, State Farm agent Amy Brown, at 678-840-5000. Stop by our office on South Candler Street in Villa Rica or visit online at amybrown.biz. We're here to help life go right.
Osier Apparel makes it easy for you to outfit your employees in company attire. The Osier staff will work with you to set up a company store online with your logos, approved garment brands, colors, and styles. Once the store is up and running, employees visit the store and order direct within your allotted budget, or can order additional garments on their own within your preset acceptable parameters. You've got enough to do. Alleviate the hassle of outfitting your employees. To find out more or to set up your company store, visit osierapparel.com or stop by their office on Avenue C in Carrollton.
At West Georgia Plumbing, Septic, and HVAC, a family-owned and operated company, we understand the importance of keeping your family comfortable and home functioning properly.
We are available 24/6 for any and all repairs and installations. We honor all military, first responders, teachers, and senior citizens with a 10% discount.
Give us a call at 678-708-8883.
And check us out online at westgeorgiahvac.com and westgeorgiaplumbingandseptic.com. To God be the glory.
In America, someone's cell phone screen cracks every second.
I'd hate to be that guy.
Face it, someday you'll be that guy. When that day comes, don't send your phone off to be repaired. It takes weeks and costs a fortune. From busted screens to battery replacement, West Georgia Technology repairs phones and computers fast for a price that will make you smile.
Ah, shoot. So who do I call again?
West Georgia Technology, 678-664-0486, 928 South Park Street in Carrollton.
Whether it's a car accident, storm
30
damage,
seconds.
or a fire, when the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you saved money in 15 minutes. In this moment, it doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is that your independent insurance agent and the company that stands behind them have you covered. Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people. Visit Susan, Gary, and the rest of the crew at Southland Insurance on Corporate Drive in Carrollton or online at southlandinsagency.com.
Back in 3, 2.
Back here on the Team SMI starting lineup show. Hope y'all are doing well. Matt Skinner alongside Clay Harden. Always good to see Greg, man. He's such a great guy and such a great calls. And
I worked with him for years at the sheriff's office, and then I see him every time we go do a Heard County game. He's always on the sideline, always involved with everything they got going on down there, and he's a real community-oriented guy.
Nobody does it better than our sheriff's office and our community. All the police and everybody just top-notch around these parts. And we're praying for him, especially this week with it being homecoming. It's always a hectic week when West Georgia has homecoming, so keep them in your prayers this week. Big games. We touched on it early on, but big games. We'll start with your game. Bowden at Christian Heritage. Bowden, I'm not saying they haven't been tested. They played Bremen early on in the season.
Big test.
They had North Cobb Christian. Everywhere else in between has just been. They've kind of gone through the motions a little bit. They've won the games because they've been the better team, but they've just kind of gone through the motions.
Well, it kind of got hairy there at North Cobb Christian, and they had a 2-touchdown lead with about 6 minutes to go, I think, and let them back in it because of penalties and turnovers and whatnot. Right. But they had enough athletes to overcome it.
Right.
I think Christian Heritage is a different animal.
Young team. We were talking with Casey. He was doing some research on them. Younger team.
All sophomores. A lot of them are sophomores and juniors. But I don't know, and I don't know much about them, but I do know what Rich Finley and his staff have at Bowden.
Right.
And, if they can limit the turnovers and just keep their composure and not make dumb penalties, I think they'll go undefeated this year.
Yeah, they got a true shot, and they can't be looking ahead to Darlington next week. Got to take care of this game first, and I'm super excited to hear y'all on the call for that one. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, and usually me and Casey get to drive together, but he's coming straight from the airport, and I'm leaving Carrollton around 3, so we're coming in like this from 2 different directions, and that'll be a long, boring ride back home from Dalton at, I don't know, midnight.
Poor Casey.
Poor me.
Oh, you ride back? You're not riding with is Brant
riding
back?
No, he got called. He got turned around at work today.
So he's not even going to get to go?
No, he's going to listen to it on the radio.
Wow. Poor Brant.
So I got nobody to go with me. If anybody wants to go ride with me to Dalton tomorrow, I'm leaving at around 2:30 or 3.
Call Lanny.
I done talk to him.
Oh, man. Over on B92 Country, Bremen and Temple. Now, we've already heard our good friend Billy Lindahl talked to Coach Russell this week, and they pretty much do this every week. They're going to play man-to-man defense, put everybody in the box to stop Phillip Johnson. It's really the matchup here is Bremen's offense versus Temple's defense.
Yeah, well, and I think I've seen both of them, and Bremen is getting better and better and better every week. Yeah. Bremen plays really good defense. Rooster's gonna run man coverage on the edges and a zero coverage with nobody back deep. I just think the offense has gotten better and better and better every week. And Bremen,
that's what you got to do.
Bremen's got too many athletes for Temple.
Another game, Carrollton at Kell. If Carrollton wins this, it's pretty much they got to win one more game, and they're the region chance. If Kell wins, they set up a de facto 3-way tie, which those are never fun to try to figure out. But this is a big ball game on KISS 102.7.
Rome beat Kell?
Yes.
Okay.
Because of really, Kell missed 3 field goals. Kell's special teams has been their weakest link, and that's what, talking to Coach Nord, who played, he was not impressed with their special teams unit.
So what you're telling me is Rome, Carrollton, and Kell's pretty even.
Pretty even, yes.
So this is a big game. For me, it goes back to Carrollton's defense. That's been their backbone all year. I think Carrollton wins this game just on their defense. I think the offense does just enough to get the job done, and Carrollton wins it on their defense.
I'll say this: you cannot afford to. They were on the field for 85 plays against Rome. You can't be on the field twice in one season of 80+ plays. That can't happen.
And it blew my mind. What was the stat that blew my mind? They had 85 plays.
2.7 yards a play or something like that.
No, it was like 1.7.
It was crazy.
Yeah, low. I mean, just Carrollton's defense was ridiculous that night.
Absolutely. Haralson County. Big ball game against North Murray. We hit on it earlier, but this is the big. I don't care what anybody says. I'll argue with anybody from Haralson County. This is the biggest game to this point in their history. They've never won a region championship. They've got a chance to take a little piece of that on Friday night.
Didn't they win a state championship like back in the 60s?
That I do not know. I don't think so. To my knowledge, they've never won more than 10 games. Well, and that game was against a non-region schedule.
I know there were some teams back in the 60s, late 60s, that were really tough, but I'm not going to argue with you about it. This is if it's not the biggest game in their history, it's the biggest game right now.
Yeah.
And it's the biggest game in their recent history.
Biggest game within 40 years.
Yeah, it's a huge game, and they're in the same situation that Bowden's in. They're going up against a team with a lot of athletes, and Haralson County's been tested by some decent teams to this point, but not any really good teams.
Yeah, all on the road. That's been the biggest thing. I was all on the road.
We don't know how they're going to stack up to a team that's talented, right. and as North Murray is going to hit you in the mouth like North Murray will, and with a quarterback like North Murray's got.
Central, they got a big ball game. It's a week of big ball games, folks. I'm telling you, you need to find your radios or a game to go to and just enjoy it.
And it's going to be in the 50s.
It's going to be beautiful.
Game.
Absolutely. It's going to be beautiful. Central at Chapel Hill, a must-win game for the Lions.
Yeah, if they want to, I mean, we said it last week, if they wanted any shot at the playoffs, they had to beat Cedartown, but this is really it. If you want a shot at the playoffs, this is the game you got to win, because if you lose this game, you've eliminated yourself.
Right.
So, and even with a win, they still have to have some help to get in the playoffs. But this is a must-win situation, and I think they beat Chapel Hill.
Yeah, I think that they will, and they definitely should, and they will. It's going to be interesting to see that ball game. I know that Coach Smiley will get those boys back ready to play. Mount Zion's got a tough game. They're playing against North Cobb Christian.
Yeah, well, still got 8 starters out from the game one. North Cobb Christian is loaded with athletes. Is it up there?
It's actually at home.
Okay, well, that's going to help a little bit, because that place is – I enjoy calling the game there, but everybody sits on one side. So being at Mount Zion is definitely going to help them there. But they're going to have a tall order stopping that running game of North Cobb Christian.
And then looking at Villa Rica, they've got they're at Hiram. Hiram's looking like they're going to be the number 4 seed in this.
I'm not. Villa Rica, I saw them against MLK, and I've based everything, every opinion I got on them off of that one game. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. Moving on into our college football talk, as we got about 5 minutes left in the program. You're listening to the Team SMI starting lineup show right here on KISS 102.7 and the Graddick Sports Facebook page. But Louisiana at Arkansas State, that game going on currently on ESPNU.
You know me.
You'll be
I'm
watching.
To go watch it.
Yep. UCLA at Stanford. That's on ESPN. On Friday, we've got college football on Friday night.
Which I am dead set against.
Marshall playing against the Fighting Lane Kiffins and Glenn Spencer. So that will be at 6:30 on the CBS Sports Network. Pittsburgh at Syracuse. Ohio State gets their game out of the way this week early at Northwestern. And the Running Rebels of UNLV play Fresno State.
Late game.
That's a 10 o'clock game.
I can listen to that on the way home from Dalton.
Or you can go to the game out in Fresno, and you can go for $15 right now.
Really?
Yeah. That's good for California money. Moving into our Saturday matchups. Clemson at Louisville, the ABC game right at 12. West Virginia at Oklahoma. That will be a blowout. I swear, Oklahoma plays the big noon game every single week.
Well, that's Fox paid for that spot. So they get to pick what game they want. It's like the CBS 3:30 game. They get first pick at it.
Right. Your Fighting Badgers are playing the Fighting Illini at 12 o'clock on the Big Ten Network. The Florida Gators are playing at South Carolina. South Carolina last week with their biggest win in school history, besides their national championship, in my opinion. Embarrassed Kirby Smart.
You know, I feel bad for Blankenship.
I don't feel bad for them.
I do, because they should have never been in this situation.
They shouldn't have, but they were.
And I felt like they should have let him attempt a 58-yarder at the end of regulation.
I just hope that Rodrigo Blankenship does not turn into Blair Walsh. I'm still mad. I'm still mad about Rodrigo missing that field goal last year or 2 years ago in the SEC championship game. No, it was last year in the SEC championship game against Alabama. He missed a 30. Nobody remembers this, but he missed a 34-yard field goal from the right hash where he wanted it, and that changed the whole ball game. And it would have been a 3-possession game with 2:34 left in the third quarter. Instead, he missed it, and that's when Jalen Hurts came in the game. And don't even get me riled up.
I'm just saying the dude hadn't missed a field goal to this game last week, and now y'all ready to crucify him.
I know. Auburn at Arkansas, that's another 12 o'clock game. A lot of 12 o'clock games. Purdue at Iowa. Houston, everybody's transferring from Houston. That's a 12 o'clock game at UConn. You couldn't pay me to watch that game, Clay. Georgia Tech at Miami, another 12 o'clock game.
You couldn't pay me to watch that game.
NC State, just for our friend, it's on the ACC Network alternate channel. That's how bad the game is. It's on the alternate ACC Network channel. NC State playing up in Boston.
Look, I just want to know what the primetime game is.
I'm moving down. 3:30 game on CBS is LSU at Mississippi State. Let's see. App State, baby, they're in the top 25. Good friend Cole Cook up there coaching. I know Casey's not going to be too happy with me. They're playing ULM.
Casey affectionately refers to them as crap state.
Yes. Missouri getting up into the top 25 this week. They're at Vandy. Georgia plays Kentucky at 6. All right, here we go. 7 o'clock game. Texas plays Kansas.
Yeah.
Gosh. Michigan plays at Penn State, 7:30 ABC.
That's Penn State.
I wish Michigan would win that game, but then
Penn State are pretenders, and Michigan's coached by Harbaugh.
That's a pretty accurate statement. Then Tennessee plays at Alabama. They're going to embarrass them on national television at 9 o'clock.
Saban's never lost to Tennessee, by the way.
And it won't be again this year. USC at Arizona. Actually, Arizona at USC.
What's my red-eye West Coast game of the week?
Oh, we're getting there. Boise State at BYU on ESPN2.
That'll be a good one.
Nevada at Utah State on ESPNU. And then last but not least, your favorite team,
Hawaii?
the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors, taking on the Air Force Academy.
That's the game I'm
You want to
watching.
talk about two of the farthest spectrum teams, the triple option and the 5 wide sets of Hawaii.
CBS Sports Network at 11 p.m.
Yep, CBS.
I am there.
Any last words? You ready for another week of high school football?
Yes, and I just found out today, I watched the weather because I'm thinking that the rain's coming in at like 6 o'clock Saturday. Then I find out there's a tropical storm going to be sitting over us. So I probably need to get my rain jacket for the West Georgia game against West Florida this week. It's homecoming, and it's probably going to be raining all day. And my wife asked me, will they cancel the game if it rains? And I just said,
we love you, Lindsay. Oh, man, unless there's phantom lightning strikes like there were that one year at Florida Tech.
I've seen it happen.
But we appreciate everybody watching tonight on the Gradic Sports Facebook page and listening. For David Brock back in the studio, Joel Brock behind the camera, Clay Harden. As always, I'm Matt Skinner. Come out tomorrow at the Taylor Memorial Stadium and see us at Haralson County. It's the Team SMI Starting Lineup Show presented by SMI.